So one of the big milestones in my life was when one of my mother's brothers, who lived in Colorado in the United States, came to visit. That was the first time he ever saw an American. He came to our town of Košice, and he came to visit. My mother had 7 brothers.
Oh.
Some of them didn't survive the war. Some of them didn't survive the concentration camps, but she still had a lot of brothers. And I have a whole bunch of cousins all over the planet. Because
how did they defect and get to the States?
Well, that was okay. Well, there you go. Okay, so he escaped. He escaped when there was a rumor of the Nazi or the Germans advancing on Czechoslovakia. He crossed the bridge from Bratislava, which is now the capital of Slovakia. He crossed the bridge to Austria to Vienna is like 50 kilometers away from Bratislava. That's almost on the other side of the river Danube. And the interesting thing was that the last person who saw him on the bridge was my father, and he was still not married to my mother. They were just whatever. So he escaped there and joined the Czech army in England. So he was in the Air Force fighting the Germans as a soldier, but it was the Czech military fighting the Germans from England. So he lived in England, where he actually met his future wife. And when the war was over, he was in England, and he moved to the United States. He moved to Colorado, and he moved to Colorado because he grew up in the mountains.
Right.
So he wanted to be back in a country that resembled where he grew up. That was quite interesting. I mean, my mother was
near the ski hills too.
Well, what's that?
Near the ski hills too.
Oh yeah, Colorado Springs. Yeah. Okay, so my uncle comes to Slovakia to visit, and I was all excited. I mean, and of course I was a student, just graduated high school, just learned how to drive a car. So, and we did have a car. We actually had a car. My father gave me the car and let me drive my uncle around the country. And so he's driving me around, and he's taking me. Like, I mean, we went back to where they were born, which is the Czech part of the country. Yeah, they are from Moravia, which is like sort of like the eastern part of Bohemia, the Czech Republic now. And so we went to visit where they were born, where they grew up, and all these things. It was very interesting for me. And then we went back to Slovakia, and he just keeps telling me, turn right, turn left, and stop here. I said, okay, well, we stop here. And my uncle was a tough guy. He was like no emotions, no nothing. And there we are, standing in front of a kind of a monument in Banská Bystrica in Slovakia. And I'm sorry.
Oh,
my uncle is getting emotional,
Mm.
So anyway, so later I found out that there was a kiln. There was a kiln where his parents, my grandparents, perished. They were thrown in that kiln. Sorry.
It's okay.
So I never knew about that. So then we just traveled a little bit, and I showed him the mountains, the high Tatras, and we did all these things. And then at one point he said, would you like to come and visit in Colorado? Because we got kind of close. I said, of course, yeah, I want to go to America. I mean, who doesn't want to go to America, especially from that hellhole where I lived?
Yeah.
And so in 1967, I was the lucky guy who actually went to. I don't know if you heard of Prague Spring. Anyway, so he arranged arranged it for me to be able to visit, and so I ended up in Colorado Springs, and I met with my cousins, his kids, and whatever. The interesting thing was that on the at the airport when they met me, first thing he says, and he said it in Czech, so his kids wouldn't understand. He says, "Don't tell them we are Jewish." I said, "Okay, whatever you say." You know, they were so traumatized by all these things that happened during the war that they hid their identity. He changed his name from Weinstein to Wells, so he's got a very American name. And my cousins, I now have a cousin in Colorado, Tony Wells and Denise Wells, and the American cousins. They are 100%. No, anyway. So there we are.